Hi. So that first phrase that we have, it's very simple, but it's very useful, and you'll hear it in loads of things. That type of thing, that type of phrase. The first chord is a D. Yeah. I can see clearly now the rain has gone. And that first line goes between D, I can see clearly, G, and back to D. So the guitar would be strumming D, then G, then D again. So we're on the root note of D at first, which is a 5th fret A string. And then we go to the 5th fret A string, 5th fret low E string. So 5th fret A string, and then 5th fret low E string. So you'll see that in the tab. The tab isn't brilliantly written out, the Ultimate Guitar tab, but you know, it's got the right positions in. So if you use this video along with the tab to remind you, use them together, hopefully that'll be okay. So we got this rhythm of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So just like this is, like I said, this bass line is made up of these little phrases which go throughout the song. So this is phrase number 1, you hear it in the intro, and he plays it slightly differently in terms of how much of each note you can hear, but rhythmically it's the same thing. We've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3. So on the D, yeah, the 5th fret of the A string, let's see, I'll turn that up. So the first note is held and the second note is choked. Yeah? So we got long note, short note. So what's happening there is I'm keeping my finger down on the fretboard for the long note, and then the second note is short, and I'm choking it or cutting it short by releasing the pressure of my first finger on the fretboard. So you get this sound and not this sound. There, both of those notes sustain, and it isn't that, it's this. So we want to get that first, that's sustain. Now you can see I'm doing the walking fingers thing, first finger, second finger, and then when I go down to the E string, 5th fret, first finger, second finger, and also on the low E string I'm doing long note, short note. The first note isn't as long as when I'm doing it on the D, because these notes are 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. These notes are quavers or eighth notes, and these notes are 1 and 2, and they're crotchets or quarter notes. But the same thing in terms of the first note on the low E string. The first note you allow to ring, so you keep your finger down, but the second note you release the pressure, so you get the choked second note again, or cut off second note. So we got on the A string, and then on the E string, one and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and that's the timing of it. 1 and 2, so it beats 1 and 2 for the D string, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and the and of 3 and beat 4 for the low E string. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. With my these videos are getting longer than I meant it to be really short, but okay, so it'll be just under 5 minutes. Oh, come back, I want some more light. Picking wise, I'm doing the rest stroke, so remember the rest stroke. I'm not doing the free stroke. You can do that if you want, but most bass players would do this. Look, I'm resting my thumb. I can either rest my thumb on the low E string, because I'm plucking the A string, or I can rest it on the pick here. And then I can keep it rested there for both strings, for plucking both strings. If I rest my thumb on the E string, I can rest it there to pluck the A string, when I pluck the low E string and when I pluck the E string, you can see my thumb has to move off the E string, and I'm just bringing it to rest against the body. I'm just touching the body of the guitar. Yeah, in this case, the scratch plate. I'm just touching the body of the guitar, resting my thumb there against it. So resting it on the string, resting it on the body, yeah, or just leaning it on the body. Or here, I'm just keeping my thumb rested on the pick, yeah. Now, either way is fine, yeah. You'll see bass players doing both. But this allows you, this grounding or anchoring of your thumb somewhere, it allows these strokes, these rest strokes, to be easier to play. Remember, the rest stroke is you pull the finger through the string and it comes to rest on the string above. Yeah, so when I pluck that A string, my finger comes to rest on the E string above it. Now, of course, when you pluck the E string, there's no string above it to rest on, so you do end up doing a sort of free stroke. But you're not pulling up, you're not pulling directly up, you're pulling through the string, pulling the finger through the string, and the finger is moving towards the body of the bass, yeah? So it's not moving up in direction. I'm not doing this where my finger goes up like this. I'm doing this where my finger moves, yes, at a diagonal, but it moves into the body, yeah? So pulling my finger through the string, if I allowed it, it would sort of come to rest on the body of the bass. Okay. So yeah, that maybe seems a lot for just this small phrase, but it is such an important phrase because this is such a typical bass player thing of doing that. Long note, short note. So you've got the technique of allowing the note to ring out and then choking it or cutting it off. And that typical thing of playing the root note of the chord and then going down, which is you're going to the fifth note of the chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's the note A, but we're playing it an octave lower, and that's a very typical thing for a bass player to do. You know, country and western. That goes between the root of the chord and the fifth of the chord, an octave below. Okay, and we've also talked about technique. So now that I've talked about it in this lesson, I won't have to talk about it in the next ones. But really try and, if you can, try and get used to that rest stroke thing. Okay, you might find it easier at first just resting your thumb on the pick so that you don't have to worry about moving it around each time you play different strings, although in the future that might become easier. But let's just, because we're concentrating mainly on these strings at the moment, so thumb resting here, and try that rest stroke. So cool, because the finger comes to rest on the string above the one that you've just plucked. Okay, that was long. Okay, hope that's alright. I'll leave that one there.